Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is the first video that I will send you. It is the summary of chapter 13. The title of chapter 13 is Structure Classes. You know, parts of speech are classified into two main types. Form classes that we have already studied in the first semester, which includes nouns, verbs, adverbs, and adjectives, and structure classes which include demonstratives, الأسماء الإشارة, modal verbs, subordinating conjunctions like but, for instance, therefore, personal pronouns, I, he, she, it, prepositions, intensifiers, ظروف التجديد like very, to, adverbs of frequency, ظروف التكرار like very, to, awfully, extremely. The structure class has three features, three characteristics, which are three features. Number one, members of structure class are mainly recognized by position. Number two, a structure class is small, and we have a small number of structure classes in comparison with form classes, because we have thousands of nouns, adjectives, adverbs, while prepositions, conjunctions, determiners, intensifiers, they are limited in number. Number three, the third feature is that structure class is a closed class. That is, it rarely admits a new member. So it is a closed class in the sense, or in the meaning, that we cannot add one more item. For example, we cannot add a new preposition, a new article. Articles are indefinite and definite. They are only three. A and an are indefinite articles, while the is definite articles. Now we are going to talk about qualifiers. ظروف التحديد, which is section A. Section A. This is section A. Qualifiers. A qualifier is a word that occurs before an adjectival or an adverbial. ظرف التحديد is the word that comes, that appears, that is used before an adjectival, before an adjective, or an adverb. This is the definition. For example, the lunch was very good. Here in this sentence, you see that? Here in this sentence, the table, the lunch was very good. Here, the very is the intensifier. And then, second example, she performed rather skillfully. So, rather here, rather is the qualifier. There is a general note about qualifiers. Most qualifiers are uninflected words, كلمات ممنوعة من الصرف. Examples, like, for example, here we have very, to, rather, extremely, and so on. These are most of, you can go back and you can read them. However, a qualifier can be any form class, such as a noun, a verb, an adjective, and adverb. You know, qualifiers are limited in number. They are uninflected words, as we have said, like very, to, rather, extremely, awfully, somewhat. But sometimes, in certain cases in English, a qualifier could be one of the form classes. Yani it could be, for instance, could be a noun, could be a verb, an adjective or an adverb. That is to say, هذا يعني when the noun modifies or comes before another noun or another, when it comes before another adjective or another adverb, so here it functions as a qualifier. For example, the table was only inches wide. Wide is an adjective. واسع wide, opposite of نار ضيق. Inches here in example number 1 is a noun, the plural of inch. So here, which is underlined of course here, inch functions as a qualifier because it precedes or it comes before a noun wide. The second example, the water is boiling hot. Boiling is a verb because it ends with ing. But here, because it comes before the adjective hot, it functions as a qualifier. Sometimes the qualifier could be an adjective, as in example number 3, the dress seems lighter than yours. Here, lighter is an adjective, it is a comparative degree. Light, lighter, lightest. So here, lighter functions as a qualifier, although it is an adjective, because it comes before yours. Well, finally, a qualifier could be an adverb, like fairly. You know, fairly is an adverb. Fairly is an adverb. So here, because fairly modifies or comes before another adverb which is well, it functions also as a qualifier. So qualifiers, as we have said, are words that usually come or precede an adjectival or an adverbial, yani they modify an adjective or an adverb. They are limited in number. They are only limited close list of qualifiers, as we have said, like very, to, rather, extremely, awfully, somewhat, etc. But sometimes it is possible for formal classes like nouns, verbs, adjectives, and adverbs also function as qualifiers when they modify an adjective or an adverb. Now we talk about section B, which is prepositions, prepositions, حروف الجر. So first of all, we are going to define prepositions. What are prepositions? Prepositions are words like of, in, to, which, etc. You know, all these are prepositions. They are followed by a noun, noun phrase, personal pronoun, or noun substitute. A preposition, as we have said, usually is followed by one of these 4 options. It could be followed by either a noun or a pronoun, a noun substitute, etc. All these types function as the complements of the prepositions. It means that a preposition could be followed by one of these 4 options. It could be followed by a noun, could be followed by a noun phrase, العبارة الاسمية, could be followed by a personal pronoun, ضمير شخصي, I, he, she, etc. and noun substitute or ضمير الاستبدالي. These 4 types of complements function as the object of the preposition. They function as the object of the preposition. So the preposition plus the complement form a prepositional phrase, like in the class. For example, in the class, here, in this example here, in is the preposition and the class is a noun phrase. The whole phrase in the class functions as a prepositional phrase consists of the preposition in plus its complement, the clause. There are types. Now we talk about types of prepositions. أنواع حروف الجر. Number one, types of preposition. Number one, only one syllable prepositions, like they are called monosyllabic prepositions. And then the two syllable prepositions, like bisyllabic prepositions, etc. And then number three, we have the ing prepositions. Examples like assuming, beginning, barring, concerning, considering, during, following, including, involving, pending, regarding, succeeding. So in general, as we have seen, there are three types of prepositions. One syllable prepositions, حروف الجر تتكون من مقطع واحد. They are called تسمى أحيانا monosyllabic prepositions. حروف الجر أحادية المقطع, like at, by, for, from, in, of, on, to, and which. Second type of prepositions, two syllable prepositions, حروف الجر ثنائية المقطع. They are called also bisyllabic prepositions. Examples of this type are about, two syllables, about, above, after, against, among, before, behind, below, beneath, between, beyond, despite, except, inside, into, outside, under, etc. The third type of prepositions are called ing prepositions. حروف الجر التي تنتهي بالing. Examples are assuming, beginning, barring, concerning, considering, during, following, including, involving, pending, regarding, and succeeding. For example, considering your loss, the bill will not be sent. Here, concerning your loss. Concerning is the preposition, where your loss is a complement of considering. Altogether, considering your loss is a prepositional phrase.